The massive view screen in the Starhammer's command center displayed a single blinking dot moving across the trade routes of the outer rim. Commander Reed stood perfectly still, his forearms clasped behind his back as he studied the pattern. The dot represented something that shouldn't exist, a lone human wreaking havoc across Council space. "Play the security footage again," Reed ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the room. The holographic display shifted, showing grainy images from a destroyed Council outpost. Through the static and chaos, a single figure moved with terrifying speed and precision. Bodies of the station's guards lay scattered, their advanced armor useless against whatever weapons the human had used. Captain Bright, Reed's second-in-command, stepped forward. Her crystalline form caught the light from the displays, sending rainbow patterns across the command center's walls. "Sir, this is the 7th facility hit in 2 months. The Council is concerned." Reed's outer eyes blinked slowly while his inner ones remained fixed on the footage. In 300 years, the Starhammers had never failed a mission. They were the elite of the elite, chosen from the most powerful species in the galaxy. But this was different. "Show me the classification file," Reed said. The screen changed again, displaying a simple text document that made several officers step back involuntarily. "Species: Human, Origin, Earth, Sol System, Classification, CLS 13 DEATHUORLD, 380 Level, Maximum, Weiern, Extreme Ocean Required." "Class 13, Captain Bright whispered. "I thought that was just a theory. No species could possibly evolve on a world that hostile." Reed finished her sentence. "Apparently they did. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, toxic atmosphere, aggressive predators, and constant warfare. Earth makes our worst prison planets look like vacation resorts." The command center doors slid open with a soft hiss. High Marshal Turner entered, his hovering platform carrying his gaseous form in its containment field. All activity ceased as the Starhammer's Supreme Commander took his position at the center of the room. "Commander Reed," Turner's translated voice echoed through the chamber. "The Council has reached a decision. This human must be eliminated. The stability of our entire system is at risk." Reed nodded slowly. "With respect, Marshal, why not send regular forces? Why the Starhammers?" The gas within Turner's containment field swirled darkly. "Because regular forces would die, Commander. We've lost 17 elite security teams already. This human, this Marcus Stone, he's not just fighting. He's learning, adapting, using our own weapons and tactics against us. The longer we wait, the more dangerous he becomes." The screen changed again, showing a map of destroyed facilities. Reed studied the pattern, his tactical mind already working. "He's not random. These attacks follow a sequence. He's looking for something." "Correct," Turner confirmed. "And that's what terrifies the Council most. We don't know what he wants. Intelligence suggests he was part of something called Special Forces on Earth. Beyond that, we know nothing." Captain Bright pulled up another file. "Sir, you should see this. Analysis of the attack sites shows he's becoming more efficient. The first facility, he took 18 minutes to neutralize. The last one, 3 minutes. He's learning at an impossible rate." Reed felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: doubt. The Starhammers were the best, yes, but they'd never faced a Class 13 Deathworlder before. No one had. They were supposed to be theoretical, a worst-case scenario used to train recruits. "Marshal," Reed said finally, "I'll need our best tracking teams, and everything we have on human physiology. If we're hunting a monster, we need to know its weaknesses." Turner's form pulsed with approval. "You have whatever you need, Commander. But remember, the Council wants results. The Starhammer's reputation is built on perfect success. Don't let this human be the first failure." As the Marshal left, Reed turned back to the footage of the destroyed outpost. In one frame, the human looked directly at the camera. Even through the grainy image, Reed could see something in those eyes. Not anger, not fear, something worse. Purpose. "Prepare the strike teams," Reed ordered. "We hunt at dawn." The mining colony of Blue Rock didn't look special from orbit. A collection of domes and industrial structures spread across the planet's rocky surface, connected by transport tubes that glowed faintly in the perpetual twilight. Commander Reed watched from the bridge of his stealth ship as 3-star Hammer squads moved into position. "Target confirmed." Captain Bright's voice crackled through the comm. "Heat signatures match human biological patterns. He's in Mining Complex 4. Reed studied the tactical display. Mining Complex 4 was a maze of tunnels and processing facilities, perfect for ambush from either side. "Remember," he transmitted to all teams, "no energy weapons. The human has shown ability to detect power signatures. Primitive projectile weapons only." The response came back as a series of acknowledgments. Reed had chosen his best teams for this mission. 30 elite warriors, each from species evolved for combat. They carried specially designed weapons that wouldn't register on standard scans, just like the ones the human had been using. Team 1 in position. The first squad leader reported. No movement detected. Team 2 ready. Team 3 in place. Reed gave the order. Begin infiltration. "Remember your training. This isn't a normal target." Through the tactical feeds, Reed watched as his teams entered the complex. They moved with perfect precision, covering every angle, using their various natural abilities. Team 1's members could see in complete darkness. Team 2 had enhanced strength for close combat. Team 3 could detect motion through solid walls. The first 10 minutes went exactly as planned. Then everything went wrong. "Contact." Team 1's leader shouted. The transmission cut off. Reed leaned forward. "Team 1, report." "Team 2, what's your visual?" "Can't see them." Team 2 responded. "Wait, there's movement." "By the spirits, he's fast." "Taking fire, taking fi." Static replaced the voice. The tactical display showed chaos. Team 1's signals were gone. Team 2's life signs were dropping rapidly. Reed watched in disbelief as elite warriors with centuries of combined experience fell in seconds. Team 3, fall back toe. "Can't fall back." The squad leader's voice was filled with panic. "He's everywhere. He's using Joan's body as a shield. How can he lift?" "No, please, we Surin." Silence. Captain Bright's crystalline form trembled slightly. "All teams, eliminated. 3 minutes and 22 seconds. It's not possible." Reed stared at the display. 30 of his best warriors. Gone. But something wasn't right. "Show me the complex's power readings." The display changed. Reed saw it immediately. He didn't just kill them. He's using their equipment, learning from it. Each team carried different weapons, different tools. "Commander," one of the sensor operators called out, "we're receiving a transmission from inside the complex." "Put it through." A human voice, calm and clear, filled the bridge. "Impressive teams, Commander. Very well trained. But you're making this harder than it needs to be." Reed's 4 hands clenched. "Marcus Stone, you've killed 30 of my best warriors." "Wounded, Commander, not killed. They'll wake up in a few hours with headaches. I don't kill unless I have to." There was a pause. "I'm not the monster you think I am." "You're a Class 13 Deathworlder." A soft laugh came through the speakers. "Classifications. Always with the classifications. Did your council ever tell you why they created that system? What they're really afraid of?" Before Reed could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. "Commander," Captain Bright shouted. "He's activated something in the complex. Energy readings air." The explosion wasn't large, but it was precisely targeted. Reed watched as his ship's engines went dark, backup systems failing one by one. Marcus's voice came through once more. "Now, Commander, we can talk properly. Or you can call in more troops for me to disable. Your choice. But remember, I could have killed them all. Remember that when you make your decision." The transmission ended, leaving Reed floating in his powerless ship, staring at the mining complex below. For the first time in his career, he had to report a complete mission failure. And somewhere below, a single human waited, watching, ready for whatever came next. High Marshal Turner's gaseous form churned violently within his containment field as he reviewed the mission reports. The council chamber, normally a place of quiet discussion, now hummed with nervous energy. On the central display, images of the disabled Starhammer teams played on repeat. "The Black Ark must be deployed," one council member declared, their tentacles waving in agitation. "We cannot allow this human to continue." Turner's translated voice carried a note of warning. "The Black Ark hasn't been used in 50 years. Their methods are extreme." "Extreme is exactly what we need," another council member said. "This human has made fools of our best forces. Send in the Black Ark. End this." In the observation gallery above, Commander Reed watched silently. His wounds from the mining colony encounter had healed, but his pride had not. The human's words kept repeating in his mind. "I don't kill unless I have to." The Black Ark arrived 3 days later. They came in ships that absorbed light rather than reflected it, vessels so dark they looked like holes in space. Their leader, known only as the Voice, wore armor that seemed to shift and move on its own. "Your Starhammers failed," the Voice said to Reed during the briefing. Their words seemed to echo from everywhere at once. "We will not." Reed watched as the Black Ark prepared their weapons, technology he had never seen before, devices that bent reality itself. "What are those?" he asked, pointing to curved blades that glowed with inner fire. "Phase weapons," the Voice replied. "They cut through dimensions. Not even a Deathworlder can adapt to having their atoms scattered across multiple realities." The attack began at midnight. Marcus Stone had taken refuge in an abandoned space station, an ancient relic from before the Council's time. The Black Ark surrounded it with their dark ships, deploying teams through holes they cut in reality itself. Reed monitored from a safe distance, watching through secured feeds. The Black Ark moved like living shadows, their armor making them nearly invisible. They carried weapons that could erase matter from existence. Then Marcus struck back. The first sign something was wrong came when an entire Black Ark team vanished. Not killed, their signals simply disappeared. Then another team went dark. And another. "Impossible." The Voice's calm facade cracked. "He's using our own phase technology. How did he learn it so quickly?" Reed watched in fascination as Marcus turned the station's old systems back on, but not in any way they were designed to work. He had somehow merged the ancient technology with the stolen phase weapons, creating something entirely new. Black Ark warriors found themselves trapped between dimensions, their reality-cutting weapons turned against them. Their unbeatable armor became a prison. "Fall back," the Voice ordered. "Full retreat. He's turning the station into a phase weapon." Too late. Marcus had learned enough about their technology in mere hours to transform the entire station into a weapon that shouldn't have been possible. Reality rippled around the structure as ancient machines powered by impossible technologies came to life. The Black Ark's mighty ships found themselves pulled into spaces between spaces. Their warriors, the most feared in the galaxy, were trapped in pockets of folded time and space. When it was over, the station hung unchanged in space. Not a single Black Ark warrior had died, but their entire fleet was gone, trapped in a maze of fractured dimensions that their own weapons had created. A transmission reached Reed's ship. "Tell the Council." Marcus's voice was tired but firm. "That escalation isn't the answer. I know what they're hiding. I know why they fear humans so much, and I won't stop until the truth comes out." The Voice, their confident tone now shaken, spoke quietly to Reed. What is he?" Reed watched the station, understanding growing in his 4 eyes. He's not just adapting to our weapons, he realized. He's evolving beyond them. Every time we attack, he becomes stronger. The Council. The Council has made a terrible mistake. In the station, Marcus Stone began preparing for what he knew would come next. The Council would be desperate now. Good, desperate people made mistakes, and he was counting on one mistake in particular. The Council's emergency bunker, buried deep beneath their fortress world's surface, wasn't supposed to exist. Yet here they were, the most powerful beings in the galaxy, hiding from a single human. Another intelligence network gone dark. An aide reported, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with fear. Marcus Stone has completely erased our presence in the outer rim. High Marshal Turner's gaseous form had condensed to half its normal size, a sign of extreme stress. How? How is he dismantling centuries of careful work in mere days? Commander Reed stood quietly in the corner, watching. The Council had called him here to explain his failure, but now they were too busy dealing with Marcus's counterattack to punish him. "Show us the latest," one Council member demanded. The holographic display activated, showing a map of Council space. Red dots appeared one by one, marking places where Marcus had struck. But Reed noticed something odd about the pattern. "He's not just attacking randomly," Reed said, stepping forward. "Look at the sequence. Each target he hits reveals the location of the next one. He's following our own security protocols against us." "Impossible," Turner exclaimed. "Those protocols are encoded in quantum locks. No single being could decode them." Reed pointed to the display. "He's not decoding them. He's watching how we react. Every time we try to stop him, we lead him to the next target. We're doing exactly what he wants." The room fell silent as this sank in. Then an alarm blared. "New attack," the aide shouted. "He's hit the archive station in Sector 7. Turner's form swirled violently. "The archives. No, he can't access those files." But Reed saw the truth in Turner's reaction. "What's in those archives, Marshal? What are you afraid he'll find?" Before Turner could answer, the main screen lit up with a transmission. Marcus Stone's face appeared, looking tired but determined. "Hello, Council members," he said calmly. "I believe I found something interesting in your secret files. Something about experiments on human colonies. Care to explain?" The Council chamber erupted in chaos. 2 members tried to flee, only to find the exits sealed. Marcus had hacked their security systems. "You see," Marcus continued, "I came out here looking for missing human settlers, colonies that went dark. But everywhere I looked, I found Council ships nearby. Classified missions, secret facilities." Reed watched as the Council members grew more agitated. This wasn't about stopping a threat anymore. This was about hiding something. "The experiments," Marcus said, his voice growing harder, "were to test human adaptability. You wanted to know how we survived on Earth, how we kept getting stronger no matter what tried to kill us. So you took our people, tested them, pushed them until they changed." Turner tried to interrupt, but Marcus wasn't finished. "But something went wrong, didn't it? The test subjects didn't just adapt. They evolved, became something you couldn't control. So you buried them, buried the whole project, except you couldn't bury the evidence completely." Reed's 4 eyes widened as he understood. "That's why you classified humans as Class 13. Not because of what we are, but because of what we might become," Marcus finished. "The Council saw humanity's potential and got scared. They tried to isolate us, control us, keep us away from the rest of the galaxy." The screen split, showing documents, test results, secret orders. Years of careful Council planning exposed in minutes. "I'm releasing everything," Marcus declared. "Every file, every experiment, every Council member who approved it. The galaxy deserves to know the truth." Turner's containment field crackled with energy. "You'll destroy everything. The panic when people learn. The panic," Marcus cut in, "is your problem now. I'm not done hunting yet. Every person who helped hide this will be found. Every facility will be exposed. You made this personal when you took our people." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Reed looked at the beings he had served loyally for years, seeing them in a new light. The hunter had indeed become the hunted, and Marcus Stone was just getting started. Commander Reed stood alone in the abandoned research facility, his 4 arms hanging limply at his sides. The evidence around him told a story he wished he could unsee. Stasis pods lined the walls, each sized for a human body. Medical equipment, modified for experiments, filled the rooms. And on every screen, test results showed how human subjects had been pushed to their limits and beyond. "Horrible, isn't it?" Marcus's voice came from behind him. Reed didn't turn around. He had known Marcus would find him here. "How long have you been following me?" "Since you left the council chamber." Marcus stepped into view, looking more tired than dangerous. "I wanted to see what you'd do with the truth." The facility's lights flickered, casting shadows across the medical bays where humans had been tested, transformed, and studied. Reed picked up a data pad, reading through more test results. "They adapted to everything," Reed said quietly. "Every poison, every disease, every environmental stress." The council kept pushing, trying to find their breaking point. "But we didn't break," Marcus added. "We evolved, changed, became stronger." He walked over to a stasis pod, wiping dust from its window. "This was my sister's pod. She was a colonist on New Hope when the council's ships came." Reed's inner eyes closed in shame, while his outer ones studied Marcus. "You're not just looking for revenge." "No." Marcus touched the pod gently. "I'm looking for survivors. The experiments changed them, but they didn't die. The council locked them away somewhere, afraid of what they'd created. I need to find them." An alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Security screens lit up, showing council ships entering orbit. "They're getting desperate," Marcus said, checking his stolen equipment, "sending everything they have left." Reed made his decision. The survivors aren't in the outer colonies. Both Marcus and Reed looked at each other. The council's fortress world has a deep-level containment zone, maximum security. We're told it's for biological weapons research. Marcus's eyes narrowed. "How many guards?" "Thousands, plus automated defenses, energy shields, and reality anchors to prevent phase technology from working." Reed stepped closer. "And I can get you inside. Why help me now?" Reed gestured at the facility around them. "Because this isn't justice. This isn't protection. This is fear. The council fears anything they can't control, so they try to control everything." The building shook as council ships began their bombardment. Marcus checked his weapons, a mix of human ingenuity and stolen alien tech. "They'll brand you a traitor," Marcus warned. "They made me a traitor when they made me part of this lie." Reed activated his combat systems. "The Star Hammers were created to protect the galaxy. Instead, we became the Council's enforcers." Marcus nodded, a plan already forming. "We'll need help. The Council's fortress world." "Already taken care of," Reed interrupted. "Captain Bright has been sharing the truth with other Starhammer commanders. Many are asking questions, demanding answers." Another explosion rocked the facility. Debris fell from the ceiling as the council ships intensified their attack. "They're not trying to capture us anymore," Marcus observed. "They're trying to bury the evidence." "Then let's give them something new to fear," Reed said, pulling up Fortress World schematics on his armor's display. A human and a Starhammer commander working together. Their worst nightmare. Marcus checked the schematics, memorizing escape routes and security positions. "The Council thinks humans are dangerous because we can adapt to anything." He looked at Reed. "Let's show them how dangerous we are when we choose our allies." They moved toward the facility's emergency exit as walls began crumbling around them. Above, Council ships continued their barrage, desperate to stop the truth from spreading further. But the truth was already out there, racing across the galaxy through countless networks. And with each passing moment, more and more species began to ask the same question. What else had the Council been hiding from them all? 3 weeks after the truth about the human experiments became public, the Council's worst nightmare came true. Their own forces began turning against them. The Starhammer base on Rigel Prime buzzed with activity as ships landed in quick succession. Each vessel carried elite warriors who had made their choice, to stand with Marcus Stone rather than continue serving the Council's lies. Captain Bright's crystalline form sparkled with energy as she coordinated the arriving forces. Another squadron from the Outer Rim has joined us, she reported to Commander Reed. That makes 7 full combat teams. Reed watched from the command center as Marcus trained with a group of Starhammer warriors in the exercise yard below. The human moved with impossible speed, teaching them how to fight without relying on advanced technology, just in case the Council used their kill switches to disable their equipment. The Council's getting desperate, Marcus said later during the strategy meeting. They've released their experimental bioweapons on 3 colonies that supported us. The assembled commanders growled in anger. Reed stepped forward, pointing to a tactical display. But the bioweapons failed. The Council forgot something important. What's that? Asked a newly arrived commander. Marcus smiled grimly. They designed those weapons using data from their human experiments, but they didn't realize that humans share our resistances with any world we live on. The colonists adapted, just like we always do. And now those worlds have declared independence from the Council. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the base. Captain Bright's form flickered with concern as she checked the sensors. Multiple Council warships dropping out of hyperspace. They're launching something. Hundreds of small objects. New weapon type, Reed announced, his 4 eyes scanning the data. Some kind of autonomous combat drones. The drones swarmed toward the base like angry insects, their metal shells glowing with strange energy. But Marcus just watched calmly as they approached. You're not worried? Reed asked him. Watch, Marcus replied. The drones reached the base's perimeter and suddenly stopped. Their lights flickered, then changed from Council red to neutral blue. Half the swarm turned around and attacked the Council ships, while the other half formed a protective screen around the base. The assembled commanders stared in shock. How? Someone asked. Simple, Marcus explained. The Council used salvaged human technology to build those drones. Technology they got from their experiments. I just reminded the drones where they came from. Reed nodded with growing understanding. Everything the Council built using their research on humans can be turned against them, Marcus finished. They tried so hard to understand how we adapt, they didn't realize they were making their own weapons adaptable too. The Council ships retreated in disarray, their own drones pursuing them into hyperspace. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. We need to move fast, Marcus said, pulling up plans of the Council Fortress world. They'll try to eliminate the evidence. The survivors. Captain Bright's crystalline surface rippled with determination. The Starhammers stand ready. All of us. We were created to protect the galaxy. It's time we did that properly. Reed looked around the room at the gathered commanders. Species that had once been bitter enemies now stood united. The Council's own elite forces turned against them by their lies. Tomorrow, Reed announced, we strike at the heart of the Council. Not for revenge, but for justice, for truth. A new alarm sounded, but this one was different. Incoming ships, dozens of them. But not Council vessels. Independent worlds, Captain Bright reported with joy in her voice. They're all answering the call. Everyone the Council ever lied to, everyone they ever threatened or controlled. They're joining us. Marcus watched the tactical display as more and more ships appeared. The Council thought making Nia Class 13 Deathworlder would scare people away, he said quietly. Instead, it showed the galaxy exactly what they needed, someone who could stand up to them and survive. Reed put one of his hands on Marcus's shoulder. Tomorrow, my friend. Tomorrow we show them what happens when you try to cage something that's meant to be free. The base hummed with energy as thousands of warriors prepared for the coming battle. The Council's reign of lies was about to end, and it would end precisely because they had created their own worst enemy. An unkillable human with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The Council Fortress world hung in space like a steel giant, its surface covered in weapons and shields. But today, those defenses faced the largest rebel fleet ever assembled. Former Starhammer ships flew alongside vessels from independent worlds, all united against the Council's lies. In the lead ship's command center, Marcus Stone stood with Commander Reed and Captain Bright, watching the fortress grow larger on their screens. Last chance to surrender. Reed broadcast to the fortress. Release the human survivors and face justice for your crimes. High Marshal Turner's reply came quickly. You dare threaten us? We created the Starhammers. We built this galaxy's order. No, Marcus responded. You built a prison, and now your prisoners are free. The battle began with a flash of light that lit up space itself. The Council's automated defenses fired thousands of energy beams at once, but the rebel fleet was ready. Now, Marcus ordered. Every ship in their fleet activated the devices Marcus had designed, modified versions of the Council's own phase technology. The energy beams passed harmlessly through their vessels, hitting nothing but empty space. Phase shield working perfectly, Captain Bright reported, her crystalline form glowing with excitement. They can't touch us. Reed directed their forces with practiced skill. All ships, commence attack pattern Delta. Remember your training. The rebel fleet split into 3 groups. The first group, led by Captain Bright, engaged the fortress's outer defenses. The second, under Reed's command, targeted the fortress's power cores. And the third, smallest group, carried Marcus and a hand-picked team of former Starhammers directly toward the fortress's secret prison levels. Inside the fortress, alarms blared as Marcus's team breached the outer walls. Council guards rushed to stop them, but years of facing human adaptability had taught the Starhammers well. They moved like shadows, disabling security systems and neutralizing resistance without a single casualty. The prison sector is ahead. Reed's voice came through their comms. But the Council is activating something big. Energy readings are off the charts. Suddenly, the fortress's center opened like a blooming flower. A massive weapon emerged, the Council's final defense. The evolution engine, Marcus breathed, recognizing the device from stolen files. They're going to use their research on human adaptation to force evolve their own soldiers. The weapon powered up, its energy reaching out to grab Council forces. Their bodies began to change, growing stronger, faster, more deadly. But Marcus just smiled. You still don't understand, do you? He broadcast to the Council chamber. Evolution isn't about becoming stronger. It's about becoming what you need to be. He pressed a button on his stolen Council device. The evolution engine's energy suddenly reversed, flowing back into itself. The Council's enhanced soldiers stopped changing, looking confused. What did you do? Turner's panicked voice demanded. I taught them to evolve like humans do, Marcus explained. Not just physically, but mentally. They're evolving beyond your control. Throughout the fortress, Council forces began laying down their weapons. The evolution engine's power had given them something the Council never intended, the ability to choose their own path. Marcus's team reached the prison level. Inside hundreds of stasis pods, they found the missing human colonists, changed by experiments, but alive, strong, waiting. The Council is finished, Reed announced over all channels as rebel forces secured the fortress. Their own weapons turned against them, their own forces freed from control. A new era begins today. Hours later, Marcus stood in the Council chamber with Reed and Captain Bright. The place that had once held the galaxy's most powerful beings now served as a symbol of change. What happens now? Captain Bright asked. Marcus looked at the former prisoners being reunited with their families, at aliens and humans working together to build something new. Now, he said, we do what humans do best. We adapt. We grow. And this time, we do it together. Reed's 4 eyes blinked in agreement. The Council feared Class 13 Deathworlders because they couldn't control them. They never understood that control wasn't the answer. No, Marcus agreed, watching the sun rise over a free galaxy. The answer was always freedom. Freedom to change, to grow, to become something new. The Fortress world, once a symbol of oppression, became the center of a new alliance. Species that had been enemies found common ground. And humans, no longer classified and feared, shared their greatest strength with the galaxy. The ability to face any challenge and adapt. Not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. Together.